Hi, welcome back to another episode of Baking Geek. Today, let me just adjust the camera there, we're going to be talking about croissants. In particular, laminating at home, which is quite different to making them in a shop where you've got every tool at your disposal. So it is quite possible. This recipe I basically used to use in a shop, and it does have a bit of bread improver in, not going to lie. So you can buy bread improver at the shops these days. So everything that I tend to make on my website, you can basically go to the Woolworths or whatever shops it may be and grab all the ingredients there. No commercial ingredients. Or I've been able to substitute a lot of different ingredients for whatever. Okay. Anyway, let's get started. I've got a nice strong flour here. Friend of mine from Basic Ingredients, Virgil, thank you very much. It's a Manitoba flour from Canada. Anyway, so I've got all the dry ingredients here. I'm not going to talk about them too much. I'm going to flash the recipe up on the screen. Here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a bit of a mix up with my spoon here. And what we're going to actually do is we're going to bring it together on the mixer. Because if you were to fully develop this dough on the mixer, your mixer would probably cut out. And this is a big motor on this mixer. And the first time I ever used it, I did croissants. And guess what? It cut the motor out. So anyway, I'm going to use a full packet of yeast. That's 7 grams. I know it sounds like a lot for this amount of flour, but trust me, it works. And that's dry yeast, so that can just go straight in. There's no need to, a lot of people wet their yeast down, there's no need for that. Okay, and our liquid. So I'm going to flash all the recipe up on the screen, so hopefully you've gotten this far. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start adding it slowly. And on the lowest speed as well. And I'm going to grab a scraper and help it out. Got one of these nice long scrapers that sort of tends to get right down the bottom of it. Alright, I'm just going to give that flour a bit of a fold over. There we go. We're back into it. Okay, we're getting there. I might just turn it up on slightly. Okay, we're almost there. It's been mixing now for almost a couple of minutes. What we're looking at is we're not looking at developing the dough fully. We're going to bring it together here, and then through a series of workings afterwards, that's how we're going to develop our dough. That's it. That was 2 minutes 50. There you go. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at a dough that's sort of fairly well underdeveloped. I'll just get there. Get you down there with me. Okay, so this dough is fairly well underdeveloped. What we're going to do is we're just going to round it off now, and I'm just going to rest it in the bowl with a bit of, let's turn that off for now. I'm just going to put some Glad wrap over the top of the bowl, and every 5 minutes I'm going to come back to it and work it just that little bit more, and you'll find after 2 or 3 workings of that it'll be fully developed, and then we can pop it in the freezer. Okay, back in a second. Okay, so it's been about 5 to 10 minutes, and what we've left is we've left the dough there to develop by itself and allow the yeast to help develop the dough, basically. So as the yeast moves and rises, the gluten will become developed. Now we're going to give this a working. I'm just going to be moulding this in a traditional fashion, and like I said, we'll be doing this 2 to 3 times. Now that's nice, a nice round tight ball. We want to keep that. It's a fairly tight dough. It comes in just over 50% water ratio. So that's going to work with our butter when we go to fold it in at the end. Right. Okay, back in a minute with another folding. Okay, it's been about another 5 minutes. We'll give this dough another working. I'll just pull that down so you can see what I'm doing. Like I said, as the yeast starts to rise, the dough will develop. Okay, here we go. And what we're doing was just pushing the heel of the hand into it and just giving it a bit of a moulding like that. I reckon that's almost ready. What we're looking for is almost full development of the dough. By the time we laminate this dough out, we want it to be fairly well developed, because by the time we do our lamination, it should be fully developed. And yeah, that way the croissants will stand up nicely, you get the good layer separation, all that sort of thing. Okay, pop that in. Be back in about another 10 minutes. We'll give it a little bit this time. See you soon. Okay, we're back, and this will be the 3rd lot of folding that I've done to the dough. It's starting to, I can feel it starting to rise, and I'm just going to give it another working, and I can tell that it's really starting to get developed there now. You'll see that nicely. There we go, it's standing up nicely. There's no tearing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to freeze that, and what we're going to do is we're going to freeze it, and depending on when you want your croissants, you're going to bring it out about 6 to 8 hours before you need them. Oh, you need to do your laminating, that is. And it's going to slowly defrost in the fridge. So it's going to go from frozen to slightly not frozen, okay? And then we're going to start our laminating process. It does need to be that cold to match the consistency of the butter. Okay, so join me back when we bring it out to laminate it. See ya. Okay, so we're back. So what's happened is we've frozen our croissant dough, and we've put it in the fridge overnight, and yeah, we pulled it out and here it is today. So what we're going to do now is called the lock-in. Okay, so we're going to lock the butter into the pastry, and we're going to go from there. Right, just unwrap this first, then I'll give you a view of it. Okay, so I'm just going to move the camera down a bit. Okay, right, so we've got the dough, and it's quite firm at this point. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use a little bit of flour with this, just a little bit, not too much, and I'm going to splay it out into a bit of a square shape. Now, for the size dough it is, I'm actually using a 200 gram block of this butter. Actually, it's French butter. It's really nice. I have used it in the past. Works quite well. Yeah, so we're just going to put that out just a little bit more. There we go. That should do me. Right. Now to carve the butter up. I've left the butter out on the bench most of the morning, so it's quite soft actually now. So let me go 3 pieces with this. That's 1. 2 and 3. Right. Now you'll see other people, they'll beat their butter, they'll do all sorts of stuff with it. I don't do that. Basically, I'm just going to pull the sides like this. I do like to do what's called an envelope type fold to lock the butter in. And there we go, that is literally it. Once that's locked in, I would normally do 3 half folds with this, but I may do 2 half folds and a book fold. So you want a decent amount of flour, and we're just going to pin it out like that. Straight away, any bits that you don't like, there we go. Now the reason I don't cut the sides, a lot of people do cut the belly across there. They say it takes a lot of the tension off. The reason why I'm not doing it is because I'm used to doing croissants in Australia, which is very, very hot weather. And if you do that, the butter quite often leaks out of the side. It becomes messy. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to be more traditional. Okay, so this is going to be our first fold. That's our first half fold. We don't need to be too exact on that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rest it, and we're going to give it another fold. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes, and I've rested the dough in the fridge after its first half fold. We're just going to flour it up a little bit more. Not use too much flour. You do want it to be able to move about. There we go, just a little bit of flour, and we're going in for our, you don't want it to move too much, so I'm going to lock that in there, right. So we're going to pin that out. You want it fairly long, and you want the edges to be fairly square on this. I might even let's get in there. Right. Right. So that's another half fold. We've got one more half fold, and then we're going to give it a big rest, and then we're going to sheet it out basically. Right, back in a few more minutes. Okay, it's been a few minutes now, and we're into the third fold. So this has been in the refrigerator just resting for the whole time. So we're just going to give it a bit of a push down before we start. And you can really see it is a firm dough to start with, but as we progress through these folds, you will find the dough does get a bit tighter. Now in a regular bakery it's a lot easier because you normally have a piece of equipment called a sheeter to do this for you, but we're doing this by hand, so it's quite an art to it. Right. Might even get the other rolling pin. This one I can put a little bit more torque into it. Right, we're starting to get there. It's a bit of a workout this. What I might do is I might actually rest the dough like that before we do the next fold. So allow the dough some rest, because if you just keep working the dough, it's just going to get tighter and tighter. So we'll be back in a few more minutes. Okay, so the dough's had a little bit of a chance to relax a bit more. We'll finish this third fold eventually. Okay, there we go. Tension's gone right out of it. Right, we want it fairly square on this last one. Okay, we're going to go that way. Right. Okay, that's it. On the next one, we'll be pinning this out before we cut them. Okay, so that's the last fold. Going to rest it again. Okay, so we're back out of the fridge again. During this whole process, you'll notice you need to continue to rest the dough. It's a bit of a process. But if you don't give the dough the appropriate rest, you'll end up with all sorts of side effects from the butter actually coming through the dough and that sort of thing. So what we're going to do now is just hitting this with the heel of my hand, and sort of see if we can. You can see a little bit of tearing right there, okay? And that's what we're going to try and avoid. If I feel that the dough is going to tear at any one point in time, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and rest it. So I definitely want it to go this way. That'll give us the height for the croissant that we need. At the same time, we're going to go this way. And we're going to continue just to go backwards and forwards like that. Okay, I feel that the dough's getting fairly tight now, and I'm going to give it a rest. In just a second. So that's going to rest. Like I said, it is a slow process, but the result is definitely worth it. Back in a few minutes. Okay, we're back out of the fridge again. This may take us a few goes to get to where we need to be. I want the dough around about 4 to 5 mil thick, so we just keep resting it and keep pinning it out. Hopefully it doesn't tear on us. You have to learn when to back off. Okay, it's starting to look good. I feel the butter's made its way through the entirety of the dough. Needed to go this way a little bit more. That's about the height that we need. Okay, I'm just going to rest it, and I'm probably going to we'll just rest it one more time. We'll pin it out for us last time, and then we'll make our final cut. Okay, so we're nearing the end of this tedious process. I think this dough is rested enough. It's feeling fairly loose right now. Just going to give it a little bit more flour. Rub that right in. You want it to be able to move freely over your work surface, whatever you're using. Okay. That's enough. Okay. Right. Pin that out lengthways. And it's starting to get to that 5 mil sort of area that I want. Right, I'm starting to get that length. Right. Almost perfect. There we go. I feel we're getting there, slowly but surely, folks. Right. I feel we're there. That will literally do me. Okay. So if you want to get yourself a decent sort of chefing knife, this is what we're going to perform our cut with. I'm just going to take a bit off the edge straight away like that, and then we're just going to go through them like that, and that's about the size that you want them roughly. 3. So let's see how many we're going to get out of this. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Looks like I'll get about 10 out of that, folks, and I'll get a couple of what do we call these? I'll fold that up like that and put that in a muffin case. There you go. What we're going to do is we're going to rest these before we actually roll them. Stack them up like that and just rest them in the fridge like we have the entire time. There we go, because we do need to stretch these out a bit. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. So we've done our 3 folds, we've sheeted it basically out, and we've rested these little guys in the fridge for a few minutes before we're going to actually roll them up. Always find that helpful in your final roll. Okay, so we're going to get them out of the plastic. And if you want to have a look at it, the layer separation seems quite nice in this one. You'll see that. Okay. What I've actually done as well is I've got some Philly cheese. I've mixed some mozzarella in there and some garlic, onions, and some ham. Yeah, so we're going to do some ham and cheese croissants as well. We're going to do some plain ones. So first of all, I'm going to take a croissant. I'm going to splay it out like that. I'm going to give it a stretch, and then we're going to fold it all up like that. Make sure it's nice and straight in the middle, and there you go. You can pull it round if you want, that's up to you, but I feel these are more modern, so we're going to keep it straight like that. Right, just going to get these ones out. Now when you go to bake these, I'm going to prove them. I've actually made let me just pull that up and I'll have a chat to you guys. I've actually made a proofer of sorts. It's basically a very large container. I've got a small humidifier which I fill with boiling water, and I pop that inside the container, and I've got a temperature probe, and basically turns that into a home prover. So I'll be proving these for however long it takes to prove them, and yeah, there you go. That's how you do it at home. You could just cold proof them on the counter. That's okay. I just speed the process along with a little bit of proof. That's all. Let's get back down to it. Okay, there you go. So I've got this. I'm going to splay them out like that. Give them a bit of a stretch. Okay. And then we're going to get some of our cheese mixture. Going to get a nice big knob of it like that and plop it right there. Now this is the proper way to do ham and cheese croissants. Most ham and cheese croissants, you'll see most people use regular ham, regular cheese. and it all spills out to the side. But I'm going to show you a technique with these where it stays in the croissant. It doesn't end up all over your tray. Okay, so you've got your croissant. Can you see that one? Okay, so you've got your croissant like that. You're going to pinch the sides of it and push it down, and then just roll it up like you would a regular croissant. Okay, the tail sort of is poking up a little bit on that one. So once again, down on the sides like that. I'll just pull that down just a little bit more so you can see, and then just with each stroke, just pull it a little bit till you end up with that. That's perfect. Okay, once more, give it a stretch, push the sides down, and then roll it up. Okay folks, I hope you've enjoyed that, and it's a bit of a tutorial on how to produce croissants at home. That recipe, obviously I've got 10, and they're going to be fairly large croissants. If you want them smaller, you're going to have to, let's just pull this up, you're going to have to sheet them out a little bit thinner. You'll get more out of them obviously, but yeah, that recipe does suit 10 croissants. And I used 200 grams of butter in the final block. The dough size was about 800 grams, and that's about a quarter of the recipe. Worked out perfect. Okay, see you next time. Bye. Oh, bake them for 20 minutes on, I'll say 180, that sort of thing. Fan force, that is. So that's regular about 200. Obviously, give them an egg wash before you put them in the oven. They'll turn out perfect for you. See you next time. Bye.